The Rufus River Massacre was a massacre of 30 to 40 Aboriginal people that took place in 1841 along the Rufus River, in the central Murray region, after 3 consecutive ambushes with overlanders, stock drovers, on the recently opened overland stock route, which followed an old Aboriginal route. The massacre occurred after an official party, including Protector of Aborigines, Matthew Moorhouse, along with police, was sent out by the Governor of South Australia, George Grey. The Rufus River is a small tributary which runs into the Murray River near Lake Victoria, New South Wales, very close to both the current borders with Victoria to the south and South Australia to the west, in the area known as the Central Murray region. The local Marora people probably had their first encounter with Europeans when Charles Sturt travelled down the river in 1830. There is no record of other Europeans in the region until the overland stock route was opened between Sydney and Adelaide in 1838, and Joseph Houghton and Charles Bonney made the first trip, taking 335 cattle to the Adelaide market. Edward Aaron Sturt followed, and by April 1841 at least 36 parties had travelled the track, bringing with them about 480 people, 90,000 sheep, and 15,000 cattle, as well as horses, bullocks, drays, and goods into Aboriginal territories. The route followed much older Aboriginal pathways, and various skirmishes were reported as the new settlers travelled through the central Murray region. On April 16, 1841, a group of 11 overlanders, led by Henry Inman, with 5,000 sheep, was attacked on the banks of the river about 40 miles, 64 kilometers, east of Lake Bonney. 2 of the party were killed and 1 injured. A group of volunteers, including a member of the original party, Henry Field, set out to recover the sheep on May 7. They too were attacked. Governor Grey swore in a batch of special constables under the jurisdiction of Major Thomas O'Halloran and the Protector of Aborigines, Matthew Moorhouse. A large party of men, including police under the command of James Rigby Beaver, left Adelaide on May 31. They met up with another group of overlanders, led by Alfred Langhorne, on June 22, who had been attacked 2 days earlier at the Rufus River. 4 Europeans and 5 Aboriginal people had been killed, with 2 and about 10 injured in each group respectively. Another official party, including police, 3 Aboriginal people and Moorhouse, again left for the Murray in July 1841, meeting up in August with another group of overlanders, led by William Robinson, who had earlier been attacked. In that conflict, no Europeans had been hurt, but 5 Aboriginal men had been killed and 10 wounded. Coming across a large group of local men and women near Lake Victoria, Moorhouse and 2 others became involved in another clash, despite Moorhouse's attempts to negotiate through interpreters. According to Moorhouse's report later sent to Grey, nearly 30 Aboriginal people were killed, about 10 wounded and 4 captured and 1 man, 1 boy, and 2 females, taken prisoner. A large majority of the wounded would be expected to die from their wounds, because Aboriginal medicine was ill-equipped to deal with gunshot wounds. Only 1 European was wounded. A subsequent inquiry headed by Sturt questioned the participants, including the Aboriginal interpreter and one of the captives, but eventually declared that the actions of the European parties had been justifiable. It determined original cause of much of the trouble with the Robinson group was the Europeans engaging in sexual relations with the women without giving the food and clothing promised first. That initiated an escalating cycle of conflicts, which eventually included the Aboriginal group stealing thousands of European sheep. Moorhouse testified that about 150 Aborigines appeared to be readying to attack, and that the massacre was committed to preempt such an attack. Moorhouse's report was disputed by Robinson, who stated that 30 to 40 were killed, and as many wounded, and later by James Collins Hawker, who wrote in his book Early Experiences in South Australia, 1899, p. 79. The firing lasted about 15 minutes, 30 natives were killed, 10 wounded, and 4 taken prisoner. This was the Protector's report, but in after years when I was residing on the Murray and had learnt the language of the natives, I ascertained that a much larger number had been killed.